go. Thank you, everybody. Welcome back to the Boardman Gets Paid podcast. I'm your host, Andre Lindo. And today, I finally get my dear friend that I've been on Twitter, or X, as we call it, Nelley J. What's up, Nelley J?
What's going on, Andre? No, I am so excited to be here. I know we've been trying to connect on your podcast. I'm so honored to be able to be a guest. I love that you are doing your podcast and keep it coming, right? I'm sure folks would want to hear more of your perspective around basketball and Raptors. So, no, happy to be here, brother.
That's true. Thank you so much, Nelly. So I wanted everyone to introduce everyone to Nelly. Nelly is hold on, let me turn on this music. Okay. So Nelly J, I met her on X as she was running Raptors kind of spaces, as we call it on X, and she was basically live streaming the game or having conversation while live streaming the game. And I got really excited, and this kind of inspired me to start doing my own podcast, anyways. It gave me the confidence to talk about it because Nelly J was doing this thing, and I have some wild takes as usual. You know, Nelly is she'll rate us in, right? But at the end of the day, it was really fun just trying to just conversate with other fans as we watch the game. She is also the host of the Good Rookies podcast here on YouTube. Please check it out. Type in Good Rookies and you will see her beautiful face on the screen. And if you guys have X, follow Nelly J on X and Twitter.
It's a
Um,
time, y'all. We have a good time on X. We have a good time.
do we
And
know? Do we know?
we do. But I am going to be doing some spaces the next couple of weeks. So I definitely want to do a space wrapping up the women's college. And I definitely want to do a space wrapping up Raptor season and a pre-draft space. So I'll do more spaces because,
Yeah,
Raptors have been a depressing topic for a lot of us. But I mean, I also think it's a part of, being a fan, right? You can't expect beautiful bubbles every time. And I think being a Toronto Raptor fan, you have to be one thing you have to have, Andre, which you have, is have a tough skin. You know what I
mm,
mean? We're the only team outside of the USA. We have all this tariffs war and so much going on, but we are a team that's unique, right? Having that Canadian culture, Caribbean, Afro culture, a lot of Indian fans, like Middle Eastern fans, like our fan base is so diverse and unique and cultural, right? Along with the Canadian culture in tuned. So I
mm,
just think that we're very lucky, and I think we're lucky to have a team, an NBA team that we can talk about, and we can trash talk about them and be happy when they're doing well. So it kind of goes both hand in hand.
it is very true. So, with the conversation today, Nelly J, I'm going to say she's an expert on the NCAA basketball, men's and women's.
Oh, expert. Oh, wow, that's a
Well,
lot.
to
I'm
me,
all right. I'm all right.
the way I hear you talking about teams and colleges, and there's hundreds of colleges in the United States. I don't know how you guys do it, but I love listening to it. Also, Nelly's on the Spaces, co-host of Space as well for the college basketball and the morning host with Ran
Yep,
on
the run
Space.
daily.
The Run
Hmm.
really awesome. I love hearing perspectives from like the different coaches and um, just different basketball personnel. I think basketball in the States is way different than it is here in Canada. Not sure if you have noticed that, unless but me, I'm listening in, I'm hearing the perspectives. Yeah, sometimes they're wild, but you can really learn a lot from those guys when it comes. And I think that's one thing about Canada. We're still not fully engaged and educated. At least a layperson isn't just yet on basketball, and it's really great to see the experience or the experience that the Americans have when it comes to just talking basketball. So it's pretty interesting. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the Raptors because I haven't got you on the show yet. I want to hear your thoughts about the year. Then we'll go into a little bit of college ball, Final Four today, later on today. And then we're going to talk about the women's Final Four, where they already have the finals already actually set with Paige, Beckner, and Beckner. Is it Beckner or Buckner?
Yeah, Beckers. Hmm.
Beckner. Sorry, and UConn versus South Carolina, which is going to be very interesting. I saw some stats on Dawn Stanley and how before she was the coach and after, and it's just like wildly different of how how amazing she is when it comes to coaching and finding talent, right? So
Mhm.
touch on that a bit because Andre does not know much about that, and then we'll go into the draft. Just because NCAA draft, those are kind of in, in collusion as well. So first up, Nelly, your thoughts about the Raptor season so far?
I mean, I called it the beginning of the year, dumpster fire, right? Like this is I mean, I don't mean dumpster fire like, oh, they're such an awful team. I think dumpster fire in the sense of enough confusion has occurred with this Raptors team, right? The season began and people and I will say this, right? You've been in my spaces, right?
Yeah.
It was a split approach this year and a split approach to expectations this
Well,
year.
sorry, can you explain that one? Because that's where Andre's confused. The split approach. I don't.
Right? So, for some reason, and I did do a poll beginning of the season just to get a temperature check,
Mhm,
and half of the fan base actually did feel, right? And again, I'm not gonna, be like, oh, you guys are crazy for feeling that way, but half of the fan base actually felt that the Raptors were gonna be a playoff team. I mean, top six team in the East. That
okay.
was their expectation.
Mhm,
The other half was like, oh, this team isn't going to do nothing, right? After watching how Boston played and the Knicks and occurred with that epic trade of Cat going to New York,
mhm,
Cleveland, figuring things out, Orlando getting bigger and stronger, those guys getting pieces, people still felt Toronto was a top six team, right? In the East.
mhm,
So, because of that, I think the fan base has been at war within ourselves more than what the Raptors are giving us. Like, I don't think the Raptors deserves people fighting over what this team should be, right?
mhm,
There's nothing to tell me that this team should be more than a regular team that's just happily playing in the NBA, right?
mhm,
If you look at top teams, right, and it's a pedigree, right, Andre? We've seen enough championships in this league to know what winning looks like. The Raptors aren't even close to that.
mhm.
Not close to that.
I,
So if we
I like to
want to
ask you that,
say
Nelly.
so if as fans we're happy just being a playoff team and playing, cool, right? Yeah, fine. Like if your goal is to just kind of be relevant in the NBA, okay. I think the Raptors can stay relevant and you should be happy about that. But if
Yeah.
your goal, like me, is for us to win and be the best team in the league, we are not even close.
Yeah.
And if you think we are, go watch Boston. Go watch the Denver Nuggets. Go watch Oklahoma. Like there's so many teams out there that I think have not only superstars but all stars. They have a superstar and an all star
Mhm,
and a defensive player and defensive player team person and an all NBA play. Like they have so much weaponry,
yeah.
right? Some teams have two all NBA players. We have none. So I just think sometimes, the fans were overly optimistic, which is lovely. I think that's a good thing about Raptor fans. We're so overly paranoid, sorry, delusional. It makes
Mhm,
us entertaining. But I
yeah.
do think for me, I expected the season to go as it did.
Yeah.
Nothing for me went away from what I thought. I actually thought we'd have less wins, but to be honest, for me, I'm okay, right? I have no issue with the outcome. I have no issue with how the Raptors have been playing. I thought they kind of want too much, to be honest, for a team looking to get an integral piece to be a top league, a team in the league. But I do think the Raptors gave you what it gives you. A team that starts Emmanuel quickly tells me enough, right? And IQ, love his personality, but he's a point guard you want on a championship team. And if you think he is, go look up the last 10 championships teams that won and look at who was their point guard, what skill sets they had, right? So at the end of the day, like I just think the Raptors did the best they could with what they had. And like I told you guys, Andre, you were there in the space. I said the Raptors are going to stay relevant and try to sell tickets through the greatness of Vince Carter.
And that's
I saw
something.
more Vince Carter highlights and tweets than Raptor players this year. So
Yeah.
that tells me that even the front office knew what they had, right? But I think, sometimes not every team's goal is to win a championship. our team's goal this year wasn't to win a championship. Our team was just to let's try to sell some tickets. Let's have some quality players. Let's get our young guys who are eager. And I think we have some great young players on our team, but half of them going to have to go if we want to actually try to win. So I think for the interim, it's been a cool ride. I think we've got some cool wins. It's been fun to watch. I had more fun watching the bench squad and the G League players just putting their heart out there and trying to take wins than our starters. Our starters to me have been quite, whatever. So,
Mhm.
I mean, this year went, Andre, as I expected. This
Yeah.
is a team that is lottery to play in. If they make a playoff run, they're gonna get swept. We don't have any top scorers, right? Our team doesn't have a high level scorer. We don't have that. And I remember my space, as you know, Andre, was was snipped because we called out the obvious. And now looking back, was it a lie? Right? Big up to like Beyond, Hopeful, you, Andre. You guys always come through, and everyone else who comes to the spaces. I really appreciate you guys coming through and supporting the space. But I just think early on we called it and we knew what was going on, right? But I do feel bad for the fans who did think this team was going to be a playoff team. I feel bad because it was just not going to happen. But also, I do encourage those fans to watch other basketball teams, like do your homework sometimes, because I think
What year
sometimes
the
we're
run,
so
19 run?
Raptor focused. You know what I'm saying, Andre? We're so Raptor focused that we're not expanding on, what teams are out there. Because if we play Denver in a playoff series, we're done. Like, look at us in a 7-game series. How many teams can we actually win in a 7-game series?
Do
And
you
by
think?
looking at that, I kind of knew this team would just be, a lottery. But I wish we did worse so we can get a higher pick. But I also think it's important, Andre, for a team to try to win when you have young talent, right? Because it's going to help build a positive culture. And even though Scotty Barnes, great player, I think for him to say, no, I'm trying to get wins, that's important to have your top player say that. Because if he was like, oh, we're just going to do our best and see what it is, then no. But Scotty was trying to win games. He really was trying. RJ was trying. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. I just think, unfortunately, the talent is just not there.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. You keep saying let's see an example of a winning team, and we've talked about this too. Look at our 2019 winning winning run, or at least even the teams before that. And when you compare the intangibles between the two teams that we have now versus that, it's not there. It's not there. We don't have an all defensive player, all NBA defensive player on our team, multiple of them, right? And in order to win, especially in this league, I always say you have to be a top 15, top 10 offense, top 10 defense, and you have to have a top 5 player. We have none of those. We're not even close to being a
Not
top
even
10. I know.
close. You have to at least be, but what's funny, like you mentioned that there is a 40-20 rule that Phil Jackson mentioned, and I want players, fans to understand this. A team that gets to 40 wins before 20 losses, typically those are contenders.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah,
contenders. So if we want to be contender, we have to win 40 games before we lose 20. And it's been something as a 40-20 rule. It's kind of quite known. And to be honest, when the Raptors won a championship, they were 40-20.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
mhm,
40-20 rules, it's not like, of course, like you get that, you're going to obviously win. It's just talking about the level to be a contender,
yeah.
right? You have to have that caliber.
You
And
have to be
to
consistent.
me, exactly. And all the top teams that win a championship, like you mentioned, when Denver won, they were the most offensively efficient team in the league,
Yeah,
and they had a top 5 defense. So like both have to come together. You can't be a top 20 in defense or top 30 in defense and be a top 15 and think, oh yeah, we're gonna win a chip. Like I just think sometimes like you can cheer a team on, but your cheering, unfortunately, isn't big enough or impactful enough for them to win a championship. You have to, but
yeah,
but again, I think that's what the NBA is an entertainment piece, right? People are entertained and they really rely on fans being delusional because that's what helps them sell tickets. So I don't want to discourage people to have this crazy undeniable faith. I just say like if someone comes to you and says they don't agree with your take that the Raptors are going to be a top team, people actually think now the Raptors will be a top 6 team next year in the NBA. And I think it's so because guess what? The Clippers fans think that way. Grizzlies fans, Dallas fans, Warriors fan. I mean, every fan has the same sentiment. So it's kind of like someone has to be wrong here, right? And I think for me, even though I'm a Raptor fan, I'm also realistic in my approach because I watch basketball. I'm a basketball fan, but I'm also a Raptor fan. And I know when this team is clicking when it's not, right? And we've had 9 years of playoff runs as a Raptor fan. We've seen that before. This team is not even close to that yet, right? Not close to that yet. And I feel like until we have an all NBA player, Andre, on the squad, we're not going to get there. And
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes and BI, to me, will not be all NBA players when there's players coming up. And remember, every draft, better players come in the league. That means you have to get better, right? You have to get better.
And that's
So
that's where my issue. That's the next question I was going to ask you is what did you think of the BI trade? I've said my piece about it so many times, but I think people, I've gotten disagreements like, we're trying to win, blah blah blah. But like even our boy Matt Shadow, he's like, we are not tanking, and I see our record here, and then look at the teams ahead of us, right? Do you think we have a chance to kind of even go to the top six? Because like
no,
even in the
no,
top 16, yeah, go
no.
ahead.
Yeah, so I'm looking at top six teams: Cleveland, Boston, New York, Indiana, Detroit, Milwaukee, Orlando. We're not even with BI playing as optimal, we're not better than those teams. And I think and it's not even close. Indiana has two All NBA players. Knicks has two. Boston has two. Cleveland has
One
one, possibly
for
get a second one. Detroit has up and coming, like they're just a young, hungry team. Milwaukee has superstars.
yeah,
Orlando has potential All NBA players, and I think Orlando's just bigger. They're just
mhm,
bigger than us.
yeah,
They just have length. We don't have length. We're a short team that doesn't have an elite score.
mhm,
No, we have to get bigger, stronger, better than everyone else. Right? Basketball is a sport. This is not a battle of intellect. Okay, it's a sport. We
oh,
have to get bigger and stronger than everyone else for us to be a top six team. We're
yeah.
not bigger and stronger than Orlando. We're not bigger and stronger than Milwaukee, Detroit, Indiana. We're not bigger and stronger. We're not, right? I
I
love
can
Jakob
say that
Poeltl,
about
but
Philly
we
as well.
but we need a bigger and we need some length. Our
Mhm,
team is not big.
yeah,
Our team got smaller. Our team has never been. We play more small ball than we do actual big. So I just
mhm,
think that has been our detriment, right? We have a lot of guys that are like 6'5", 6'6". We need guys that are 6'10", 6'11". Like four of those. We don't have four of
it's
those.
interesting because now that I'm hearing what you're saying, I think our draft talk is going to be very interesting because I would love to hear your thoughts on who we pick, but we'll get to that soon. One last thing is our rookies. I wanted to hear what your thoughts are on the rookies right now. When I'm talking about rookies, I'm talking about Jamal Shed, um, Mobo, Battle, and Jacoby. What are your thoughts on them? How they've been playing this season, the development, and how they like defensively, how they're doing offensively. What
Yeah,
do you
like
see their roles right now?
good question. I think our Raptors rookies, I think we actually did a pretty good job in
Mhm,
acquiring two-way players. I would say that.
mhm,
Like guys who care to play both ways. Um Everyone knows when Shed was drafted, that was probably my highlight. I really believe in a guy like Shed because he
mhm.
reminds me of a similar mindset as a Kyle Lowry, if that makes sense. He's
Makes sense.
someone that cares to play and cares to win.
Mhm. You know what got me with Shed? It was a preseason game against Sacramento, and he started a 10-0 run. We were down so much, and it was like we were going to lose this game, but he just didn't see that. You could see it in his actions, the way he was playing, defending, pushing, even being that third string, fourth string behind Davion Mitchell. He just kept pushing and pushing until they finally made that decision. Because I honestly think he's our best point guard that we have right now.
Well, what's funny, the space that was snipped about, I talked about Shed and
Mhm.
how I think he's more of he's our point guard. He's more of a point guard than Quickly and Davion Mitchell at the time.
Yeah.
right? We had a whole discussion about this, Andre, and I was just like, Jamal Shed is a point guard, and a point guard to me, okay, someone that is as impactful with the ball as off the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quickly has no impact off the ball. What I mean by that is that can he impact winning with just having 8 points and 4 assists? Is he doing the little things that helps you win the basketball game? Jamal Shaw doesn't have to have crazy stats for us to win. He just does the little things that helps us to win games. And he did it in college, right?
Yeah.
So I just think he's someone I've always had an eye on. Jacoby Walter, very talented. I think for me, he has struggled a little bit, but he was injured, right? But I think his upside is there. And I mean, we were told this year is about development, but we weren't playing. I felt like earlier on, we weren't playing our young guys as much, and we had to because of injuries. But I would have liked to have seen other guys step up. Because I feel like we know what quickly RJ is going to give us and Scotty Barnes. I think all the guys have peaked, right? Will Scotty Barnes go to another level of being better? I think he will, but it won't be in the scoring. It'll be more defensively. I think Scotty Barnes uphill would be like depoy, defensive teams, just doing all the things, right? Assist, rebound, score, block. Scotty Barnes is someone that you want on a team, right? He's a cornerstone piece. I think, but the other guys, I, we've had debates, right? People really felt Scotty was going to be like averaging 25 or 30 points a game, and that's not his game. And when people told people that, they got upset. But I don't think saying Scotty Barnes isn't an elite scorer is a bad thing. Some players are who they are, right? We can't will a player to become something that he's not. And that's what happened with Andrew Wiggins. All these guys who have potential talent, we want to put them in a box and say, "Oh, he's that." No. Scotty Barnes showed us that he's a guy that plays really well with another elite scorer, another number one player, right? He's good at that. He's like your 1B to a 1A. And so is BI that? Back to question, what is BI? I don't know what BI is because BI is not healthy enough for me to give him a thought in terms of can he impact winning. BI is extremely talented offensive player. Love what he does in basketball. He's like poetic. When BI gets to basketball, it's poetry, right? It looks great. It looks beautiful. It's something that every team wants. But does he impact winning? Unfortunately, I don't think he does because he's never been healthy enough to impact winning, meaning winning a championship. I don't mean winning. Listen, guys, winning games in regular season is cute, but when we get to the playoffs, what can you do there, right?
Even a plan.
Right. And so I think I think he's a good piece to add, but I think by adding him, I think you're taking a couple steps back because now with BI there, what is the plan? Right? Because BI's timeline, I don't think will be the same as Scotty Barnes unless he's healthy. Right. And listen to what Bobby, like what our GM said, right? It was more like, hey, he was available and we didn't want to pass up on the opportunity. And I get that, right? You have to something like BI's available, you get it. So I'm not mad at the pickup. I'm just concerned that Raptors are going to have to make tough decisions. And in the past, I won't say in the past, but since our championship, we have been terrible making decisions. Terrible. It's like we kind of got scared. You know what I'm saying? So let's see if they can pull some triggers on some players and get them off the team. Because some guys, to me, should not be here in September, right? But during the Raptors, we're like, no. If it's between Quickly and Grady Dick, buy Quickly. I want the tallest players that have the skill sets to get opportunity, right? And I feel like I'm being very bad when it comes to height, but bigger players that are talented do better in the NBA. BI is tall. Grady Dick is imagine we can get Grady Dick up and running with a BI and Scotty Barnes. You know what I'm saying? They're all 6'9", 6'10". That's length. Right. But BI defense isn't there. So for me, I wouldn't have gone after BI because I know as a Raptor, for me as a GM, I'd want the best 2A player I can get in the market. And BI is great offensively, but what he gives you offense, he doesn't make up defensively. And a team like the Raptors who are young, we need guys that are playing two-way and want to encourage our guys to do the same thing. If your best player only plays offense and no defense, I don't think that's the best president you want to set. And most championship teams, their best players play two ways. They play two ways. They
So,
play both of the basketball.
so
They
we
care
talk.
to at least.
We're gonna jump a little bit though because I want to. I think we want to stay here. So if we're talking about even the starting lineup next year, right? Um, and everyone's healthy. Starting lineup next year. Who is in your starting lineup right now?
You're not gonna look what I got to say. Um, with this team, I'm starting. And y'all may hate me, but I don't care. I would start Jamal Shed because he's someone that can play off the ball. Listen, a guy like Bi, the ball has to be in his hand. Right? The ball has to be in Bi's hand. Quickly wants the ball in his hand, right? He averages quickly right now is averaging 5.9 assists, right? But we've seen him without his top players, and he doesn't assist well. He assists well when he's playing with good players, right? That tells me that your assist numbers are kind of skewed because it's only good when you're playing with top players. Jamal Shelby will be playing with no one and still have a high assist game because that tells me that he's actually trying to get you to win. His whole pedigree. So I'm starting Jamal Shed at 1. I'm going to start at the two. RJ Barrett. I think RJ is a 2. At the
Okay.
3, I'm going to start. I would start Bi at the 3. 4, I'm starting Scotty Barnes, and 5, I'm starting Pirtle.
Okay.
So I would move RJ as a 2 guard because I think that's his true position, and Jamal Shed at the 1 because Jamal Shed all he wants to do is feed them, and all 3 of those guys. Imagine I have RJ and Bi at the wing. Scotty can go to his actual position, the 4, with Pirtle. So now I have 2 guys on the wing. One lets it go downhill, and one can score any bucket. And if they get the ball, they still got Scotty and Pirtle. That's what I'm starting.
Nelley, you forgot something. What about the draft pick?
Well, you said everyone's healthy, right? Right now, that's what I'm starting. The draft pick is interesting because I have no clue because we screwed ourselves by winning so many games. And again, congrats for winning. But because we won so many games, I have no clue who we're going to draft, right? And so this question I can answer more once we know our draft pick, a number, then I can give you a good answer as to because then I can probably predict based on that number, our draft number. Because again, we could be 12, we could be 15, we could be 13, we could be like 11. Andre. And the 11th draft pick probably will not start on this team next year with who we have right now.
No, you're right. My thing is, because I did want to talk about, but I have an issue with like where we're landed. If we get the first pick and we get Cooper Flag, this is me. There's 3 players these are the 3 players I like. If we're number 1, we get Cooper Flag. What does the starting lineup look like?
If we get Cooper Flag, I'm playing Cooper. Well, I'm probably going to, I have to start Cooper, Bi, and Scotty Barnes. So that means RJ will have to go. I'll keep Jamal Shed. I'll probably put Scotty at the 2. No, Scotty at the 2. Yep. And Cooper Flag and Bi. I think Cooper should be the 4. I'd put Bi at the 3 again, Scotty the 2. That's still a big team.
That's a big team.
And then 5 Pirtle.
All right. Now, what about Dylan Harper?
Dylan Harper, he'll start as the point guard.
So he'll start Jamal Shed to the bench.
Yeah. Dylan Harper starts, right? And then you have, again, RJ at the 2. Because I think RJ is the 2. And then you have, because I think Quickly's natural position is a 6-man. I don't think Quickly should be starting. I think he can start, but I think for his optimal level, and I think he believes he can start. Unfortunately, he's not a great shooting guard. He's not a great point guard. Like to start, you have to be really good at one thing. He's not really good at one thing, right? Like he's so inconsistent, like in terms of scoring the basketball. I mean, no, but I'll have then Dylan Harper start, and then RJ 2, Bi 3, Scotty 4, Pirtle 5.
The last player, I think everyone's been saying is the perfect player to not disrupt what's going on with the Raptors is Malawach. So do you even start Malwatch
Oh,
coming
if I get Malawak, he is starting at the 4. Scotty, Bi at the 3.
forward?
Again,
Oh,
I want to get bigger and stronger. I'll put Malawak at the 4, Pro
mhm,
at the 5. I want to get big. Those two guys are twin towers, right? And Malawak is more of an active on the glass. He can play any position, and he's big and strong, right? So I literally would, again, I want to disrupt your offense. And Malawak has quick feet, so he can defend on the perimeter. For those who are watching Duke basketball, he can defend, kind of like what Al Horford does for Boston, right? Jim Pirtle cannot. So, but I'll put Malawak at the 4, and then I actually would put Bi 3, Scotty 2, and Jamal Shed,
nice.
and then
That's
RJ
very
come off the
interesting.
bench, right?
And
But at the
I
end of
see
the day,
Malwatch
like,
quarter
mhm,
threes, man. I'm like, oh,
yeah, but that's the thing, right? Bi is the 3, right? We need him at the small forward position. He does his skill set needs to be there. But I think Scotty can play 1 through 4, right? Sorry, 1 through 5. So having someone
mhm,
like Scotty is great because he can defend, he can pass, he can shoot, and he can score. So he complements anything, right?
yeah,
Scotty complements any player we get. Like, I feel like that's the one thing about having Scotty Barnes is that he is a chameleon, right?
mhm,
So we're lucky to have him.
yeah, yeah. All right, let's change a little bit. We were talked about the draft, but let's talk about the college basketball. We got 4 number one ranked teams in the Final Four. A lot of people are talking about it as that's it's because of the nil money. So, what are your thoughts on the 4 number ones in the Final Four? It's playing tonight, and how has nil money changed the NCAA season? At least this season for you.
Yeah, it just shows them, money talks, right? Like, but the question though is that people like, I feel that's also a cop out a little bit because I think NIL does matter. But
Yeah.
are we saying that Florida and Auburn has more NIL money and deals than Kentucky,
Mhm.
than other blue bloods? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I think NIL does matter, but I also think that, not every team, like, I don't think Florida and Auburn are getting as much money as other top, college teams, right? And those two teams don't really have, I mean, they have somewhat a big football setting as well. But like, I just think that, a lot of times people like to say NIL, but I think NIL is a big factor. I think these top teams were top teams because they're the best talent. But NIL is a piece of it, but I think a lot of other teams had NIL money, Andre, and didn't make the Final Four,
Mhm.
right? You know what I'm saying? So
So it's
I,
going to
I
be a
think,
balance,
for example,
right?
like Tennessee, Tennessee has a lot of money, but they lost to Houston.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But
Well,
I do think it
have
sucks
it.
for the lower seed teams. Like, the question is, will we have like a 10th seed make it to the Final Four, right?
Mhm.
Or like a 9th seed make it to the Final Four? I don't know if that will happen again, but I do think that the teams who are in it are well deserving, and these teams are all walks of life. Some teams are old, some teams are young. Like, they're not all consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all different types of pedigree there, but they're all really talented, and they've all, I think, the most losses is by Auburn had 5. Everyone else had only 3 or 4. So these are the best teams in the country, and they're well deserved to make it. But teams like Michigan State, Michigan, Maryland, Purdue, they just didn't have a top talent like a Zach Edey, right? Zach Edey was huge. Texas Tech, I thought, did really well. Tennessee, I thought they just, they got killed by Houston. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think NIL impacts it a lot because I think if you're a smaller program and you don't have NIL money, top talented players aren't going to go to your school. But if we look at like a Steph Curry, his story, I think he wasn't. I think he was a 3-star kid, or 3 or 4-star kid coming up with a 5-star kid. So he went to Davidson and he made that team look really good, right? So I just think sometimes we're gonna get those stories coming out anyway because it's college basketball. But I also think that transfer portal is a problem, and NIL is driving that transfer portal.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Like, what about how the transfer portal kind of changes,
Yeah,
even in the women's game too, as well? Like seeing there's what's her name, short girl played for LSU and then played this year with where did she go? I forgot. She's a little point guard. Oh my god.
who's we talking about?
She's a little point guard, played for LSU last year, and then transferred to another school.
She played for who last year?
Um, she was on the LSU team that
Oh,
lost.
you mean Haley Van Lith?
Van Lith, yeah. So I noticed that she's played for 4 different schools. Like,
Well, she played for three: Louisville, LSU, and then now TCU.
yeah. So how does that like change the landscape of NCAA, especially women's and men's, when it comes to like, okay, you come to a program. I guess the coach is not for you, and now you're jumping into the transfer portal to try to get into a more of a program that suits you. Like, do you feel that there should be a little bit more restrictions on that, or what are your thoughts on that kind of process?
No, you know what? The transfer portal is a transfer portal, and players aren't going to be happy. I think I'm not mad at it because I do think when I played, I want to be able to if a coach, in my opinion, is not someone like because nowadays coaches' job is to be an influencer, right? I feel like a coach, I call them evangelists of that team, right? You have to have players believe in your system, your philosophy, and want to follow you. So if your entire team is going to transfer portal, that means that that's an indication to the AD, the athletic director, like, hey, this coach is not inspiring my team enough, or they don't have the influence or the charisma to keep a team together, right?
Interesting.
And so I just think now these portals exposes coaches, or some players are just, they want to go to a team that they can either get more money, NIL, or they want to win,
Yeah,
right? And I do think sometimes we treat players like, hey, you're there, shut up and just do whatever. But I think sometimes players have to have a say. But I think those players should also talk to like someone else to understand what that means. Because I think if you're transferring every other year, then you're the problem, right?
that's
But if you're
that's also fine.
transferring, like, but I also think, like, for example, Haley, I don't think LSU was a good fit for her, so I think she should have transferred, right?
I thought you should have
Um,
stayed in
you know what I mean?
LA.
So it just,
Work
but
there.
it's honestly is case by case, Andre. But to your point, there are some kids that are just like, hey, I think I can make more money and I can get more exposure at this school, so they go there.
So
You're
it's
right.
going back
So,
to it's going back to NIL, right? Oh wow,
yeah,
very interesting. I
NIL,
think
yeah, like
next,
getting money because
yeah,
some school programs don't have the money, and okay, and from a player and my team and my family needs that money, and someone can give it to me, I get it, right? It's survival. This is not so sometimes I can't get mad at someone wanting to go to school that can give them what's needed for their survival or to help their family. I'm not 'cause if I was a player and I can get $1 million at a school and that $1 million can help my family, help my maybe I have someone that's fighting a illness or something. You know what I mean? Like we don't know what these kids are going through. So that's why I'm not mad at the transfer portal, right? If you can go somewhere that gives you more opportunity or more money, why not do it? And if you're
so
not happy about it, then you should probably find money to keep those players.
so it's almost like it's player empowerment in the NCAA level. I like it.
It should be because they've been making. Listen, the NCAA has made so much money, Andre, off these players for decades. Imagine how much money Tar Heels made off of MJ, and he saw nothing, nothing,
Mm.
nothing. You know what I'm
Even
saying?
Michigan State, like ours in Michigan, like the Wolverines, they made tons off of the Fab Five.
Oh, what? So yeah, I'm not mad at it. It's been time, even in football. I mean, I'm not mad at NIL. I just think people just have to adapt to it and adjust to it. I think it's going to put now more ownership to say, hey, make sure you hire the right people and people that can actually influence and help maintain a team,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Because sometimes coaches be fired, but it's not really their fault. You're
yeah,
firing a coach because you can't find enough money to pay players, right? And sometimes these ADs are making coaches find the money, right?
yeah.
They're coaching. You know what I'm saying? So now I think schools should be hiring someone that has a business sales type mindset to say, hey, let's get someone that can help that coach sell or find NIL deals.
Wouldn't that be the athletic directors kind of like under their job title? Or no, I'm
No,
not.
AD director is not well, they oversee, remember, they oversee all the programs, right?
That's what I was
But
thinking.
but they should hire someone that has the economics around NIL and can go and find their program's money. It's going to force the schools to look into this and get the right people to be hired to get that,
Yeah.
right? Or hire an agency or someone that can help you get that.
Yeah. Just shout out to Shamar. She's a big fan of yours, Nelley J. Um,
Shamar, hello.
she's like, we have another comment here. Great guest. They call me Linda. That's my, even though it's my last name, that's what people call. But yeah.
Big
Um,
up to you, Shamar. Thank you for joining us.
um, Back to the kind of college effect now. So the tournament has been going on. You're excited to watch tonight, this afternoon. Has
Mhm.
anyone? I don't know if you've made your list yet, but has anyone in this tournament moved up or down your list because of their play in the
For me, no.
tournament? Interesting.
Not really. No. I would say if I'm I mean, because I was high on the guys that I've been high on, right? Malawak, like the guys who are playing well, I'm not like no one to me is playing outside of what I thought they can do,
Yeah.
right? But I would say like this tournament shows who are winners, right? Who cares to win. It's so funny. I was actually looking back at the 2018 Villanova team, right? The team who won the championship.
Mhm.
And that team, Andre, had Mikal Bridges,
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson, Dante Vigincenzo. Dante
Mhm.
scored 31 points off that bench and won the MVP for that tournament,
Yeah.
for that game. So, like, Dante is someone that I've been like, yo, he, like, when you have to win a game, he can step up. We
Yeah.
saw him do it for the Knicks last year,
Mhm.
right?
Did we see
So
him do it for Golden State? I don't think so. And
he did. He was
okay.
important for them as well. That's what I'm saying. Guys
Mhm.
who step up when the pressure is on are guys you want on your team. Maybe not to lead the team, but be as role players. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So to me, if I'm a scout, if I'm an NBA team, I'm looking at, hey, who are the guys when they have to get a win, when the pressure's on? Listen, the pressure to play in these moments, guys, it's uncanny.
Mhm.
Walking into a gym in those moments, you can't even hear the crowd. You're such in a zone, and the nerves, the anxiety. Like no one can imagine what these players go through. The other players who've been there before,
Yeah.
right? That kind of pressure to perform at that level, we cannot imagine. So guys who can perform at that level and win,
Mhm.
those are the guys that want on my team. So if I'm a scout, for example, like Jaime Jaquez,
Mhm.
UCLA made it to the Final Four, right? We
Mhm.
saw him as a rookie in NBA, cooking like guys like he's been there before, right? He was an older guy that has won or seen success in college. So you want players like that as a role player. So to me, the top guys are the top guys, Andre. Top 5, top 10, those guys are great. But if I'm if I'm drafting from like 15 down, that's
Mhm.
what I'm more to your point, Andre. I'm looking more, okay, which player that's not the Cooper flag that's stepping up in moments, making key stops, key plays, key things that I need on my team. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what I'm looking at as
Yeah.
a team that's drafting 16 and below.
Yeah. I was thinking Derek Queen would fit that model you were talking about because for me at first, 'cause, I'm not watching the games as much as well. And then I saw Derek Queen. I think he was at the 15 kind of mark, and then he moved into top 10, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
even closer to 8. And then people are talking about his height. He might not actually be 6'10", all that. But when he was playing in that game, I think it was to the Elite Eight game when they lost he put them on his back. And then the game
Mm-hmm.
before that as well. And I'm wondering if that's the type of player that kind of fits your thought process of
Of
those players that just want to win and you can't stop it kind of thing.
of course. Like it's important that he's like that, but will he take over the Ace Bailey slot or Dylan, Harper, who did not make the tournament? No. But he's someone that you say, oh shoot, there's something special about him there. Like
Mhm.
any team that wins a national championship team, you're looking at, okay, why did they win? right? And the players that are available, are they integral? And a lot of times those guys get a shot, but they have a very short window, Andre, to prove in the NBA that that they're valuable. To stay in the NBA is very tough. I remember big up to Dane, um, Dane who actually does basketball, basketball. I forgot what it's called. Illustrate. I forgot what it's called, but Dane Urban, great guy. One time on Clubhouse, we did this whole went back to all of the NBA drafts the past 10 years, and we were looking at how many players get an actual contract after their first 4 years are up. Andre, it ain't a lot. Okay, it's very small. You have literally under 3 years to prove that you can make it in this league. Three. That's why it's tough. So we can say, oh my gosh, you did a good job in the tournament, but that NBA league is the best of the best. You have a short window. So if you're not like 6'7" or above, you have a short window to prove that you can make it. Typically, the taller guys that come out of college, they have more of a window because they're long, right? Basketball is a long man's game. But if you're like 6'3", 6'2", 6'1", bruh, you better you better be impactful quickly. Quickly, right? As I'm saying with Jamal Shed, what he's done with this team, I think they're like, oh my God, this guy's an actual point guard. He's doing the small things. He's looking to feed our guys and looking to help our guys be successful, right? He's an unselfish player, but he also plays hard. And if he has to, he can make a bucket if he has to, right? So I think the heart matters. And I think in a tournament, all these four teams have heart because to make it this far, you have to have the grit to come through. Now, that's why I'm saying like some people have, Broom, who I adore, they have him in the second round on some of these drafts, right? And I'm like, what? Because he's older, right? But I think if I'm a team and I'm looking for a piece to kind of just help boost a couple of like length, talent, grit, I'd want a Broom, right? So if certain teams that have top players pick up a Broom, people are going to be upset, right? So certain players and certain teams, I'm curious to see because sometimes they want to draft younger talent, but I think if your window is to win now, why wouldn't you go after a Broom, right? So if he makes it to the second round, I'll be shocked. But I know some people have, like a lot of folks have, Joe Nye, they call him Joe Nye Broom. They have him in the second round, and I'm like, what, really? But that's what they have him, right? Because they're saying there's guys who are younger, right? Talented that they can get easier. But Janai Broom is he's I think on most draft boards like first or second in the second round, which I think is crazy. If I'm a team that wants to win now, I'm picking him up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's 6'10". Like, why would I pass a 6'10" player that has proven that he can help a team win? That's weird. But hey, what do I know? What do I know?
Well, you're telling us though. You're telling us what you know.
Listen. I just honestly, I just don't believe in drafting point guards top 10 unless they are like Trae Young's, Luka's, Kyrie Irving's, right? Like you have to be that type of like dual threat, like elite scorer. If you're not those level, I'm not drafting you. Like I don't believe in drafting point guards or shooting guards unless they are like elite. Like you have to be averaging over 21 points in college. You have to be that guy. So if you're under 6'4" and you're averaging 15, 14, no thank you. I'm good.
Okay, we got predictions here. We have Auburn for number one playing each other in the first game, and then second game is Duke versus Houston. What is your predictions for tonight and then the championship? I know you have your own bracket, but
listen, I'm gonna go with listen, man. First of all four teams deserve to win, and any team could win tonight, right? All four teams are deserving of this moment. So I don't want to give my predictions like, oh yeah, no, like any team can win tonight, right? But based on what I believe and what I think is going to happen, I do believe Auburn is going to win if Joe Nye is healthy and he's back. I mean, he has 6 days to rest, but I think that team is playing with a level of like in their minds, they're underdogs, which I think is nuts. But in their mind, they're underdogs. So I think Joe Nye and team. But Florida, that program, very magical. They've had great success, but I felt they've struggled a couple times in the tournament, right? but I do have Auburn winning because my bracket has it. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be fake and act like I know. My bracket says Auburn and my bracket says Duke. So I'm gonna go with who I have, right? Here. So I do have Duke winning. I just think Cooper Flag, he's just a special talent. Like I knew he was gonna be good, but his heart and the force he plays with and how much he hates losing, that's what I adore about him. And I think there's rarely any players that hate to lose.
Yeah.
Some players don't like to lose, right, Andre? No one likes to lose, but he hates it. So the hate to lose is what propels him to play above and beyond. And he's someone that gives his team what he needs. He doesn't have to score 20 points every night, but he will do whatever it takes to help his team be successful. So, but Houston, that team is tough. They're gritty, right? They got that Houston culture there, right? So that's a tough team as well. That's why I think, man, like whoever you pick, you're probably right. We're all right. Because like there's an argument for every team that we see in front of us to win tonight. How about you though? Who you got winning?
So I watched the Houston game, Houston, Tennessee, and I just found that offensively, Houston kind of was stagnant that game in the end, more the end, not just at the start. And I kind of feel like they have to play a perfect game if they're gonna beat Duke because Duke has both sides. I, you know, I like Duke. I just like Houston better, but I think I'm picking Duke. And then on the Auburn side, I'm picking Auburn. Their team is so they're what's the word? They're just so into it. Like I mean, you feel the joy of basketball watching that team play. And when the guy you were talking about earlier, he went down on an injury, and
Yep.
they just battled. And then when he came back and he hit that 3-pointer, you're like, oh my god, this guy!
Yeah, that was magical.
It was such a good. And I kind of want Auburn to win it all, just because of the how they made me feel as a fan watching. So I have Auburn winning it all.
Yeah, I have Duke winning it all.
Yeah.
But to your point, like to be honest, like these teams are the best teams in the country, and all these teams can win. That's why I think it's so great because even when picking my bracket, I was like, wow, there are a lot of good teams right now, right, men's and women's side. So I just think these
Mhm.
four teams are very well deserving. And they all can win. But yeah, like we got to pick somebody. You know what I'm saying? We got to pick somebody to win. So let's see what happens tonight, guys.
So one of the other questions I wanted to ask you is this Paige's year? Is this the year of Paige? Are they going to
um,
beat South Carolina
mhm.
and her take the mantle? She's going to be number one pick. You feel like is she like? I know Caitlin Clark was such a huge pull, but has she taken that mantle for women's college?
No, I don't think so. I think the mantle is actually in Juju's arms
Mm,
where she's home watching the game. I think the mantle went to Juju, to be honest. I think Paige is listen, man, that girl is a star, right? She's talented. What I admire about Paige is that she goes above and beyond for her teammates, right? She actually like when Alfie was hurt, the center, she was
mm,
making sure that she was eating properly, getting her dinner. Like she's really a leader to that team,
mm,
right? And I think just how they've honed in and supported Sarah Strong, Chen, like they've really created a good culture for their teammates. And I think Paige is their leader. So but on the other side, South Carolina is a force.
beast.
It's a force. Now, keep in mind, this team did play once this year, and UConn stomped on the ground. Like they went into South Carolina's home and
Mhm,
destroyed them. It was a massacre. I watched that game and I was like,
mm,
what is going on? So I do think this is an interesting matchup. Um, I think Vegas has UConn winning, but I think if I'm a betting person, I couldn't bet on this game because
mm,
either team can win this game, right? Because South Carolina, they have so much talent. You see, example, right? UCLA, if I'm a coach, Andre, I can scheme for UCLA from my couch
mm,
easily.
mm,
Easily. They're reliant on teams to double bets to give their perimeter threats open shots,
mhm, mhm, mm.
right?
But
What
when
Gino did was like, you know what? I'm gonna give her one-on-one looks. I'm gonna
mhm,
put Sarah on her, put Alfie. He put three different bodies on her. She never got comfortable, right? Then they made sure that all the other girls were being defended heavily on the perimeter.
mhm,
And unfortunately, UCLA's team isn't skilled enough to those girls aren't skilled enough to be a scorer or a basketball play. Now against South Carolina, they have skilled players.
yeah,
They have like seven girls on that team, Andre, that can drop 20, right?
yeah. So it's
So
interesting
the
for that. And
question is,
without
so if you stop one, the other is there. You stop two, so you can't double that team either. So this is going to be a strong. I expect a man-to-man matchup, right? I can see Gino doing some zone, but the zone will be tough because like the Gamecocks have shooters and scorers. So he's going to have a mixture of both. I think South Carolina, if I'm them, I'm attacking the rim. I'm attacking every time and find the open person. But they have guys, they have gals that can actually make basketball moves interior and make buckets, like a Malaysia Fawiley,
mhm,
right? So this is going to be this is going to be a wonderful game. They asked Gino, "Oh, are you confident going into that game because you already beat them?" And he was like, "No, I'm not confident because the team you played wasn't a real team. That
yeah,
team had a bad day. You know what I'm saying?"
yeah,
And so I expect this to be a very close matchup. And I think again, defense is what's going to win this game for whichever team that has the best defense will win this game, right?
nice.
Who can stop each other constantly, but
Mhm.
who makes the least amount of errors is going to
Who's
win this
bigger?
game.
Who's bigger between the teams? Who's bigger?
Bigger in length, I would say. Ooh,
Because usually South Carolina's big. Every time I've seen their
yeah,
team,
no, they have length. They do have length. I would say UConn is bigger because they have bigger guards.
okay,
Pow Pow and Raven, they're smaller than Chen and Page,
okay. So this
right?
will be an
So they have
interesting fight.
smaller guards. So I think UConn is bigger. I think they're bigger, but who's more athletic? South Carolina.
South Carolina. All
Yeah.
right, guys, that game is on tomorrow at 3 p.m. On ABC and ESPN. You guys check it out. Good basketball play. Last part of our draft or talk here. We're gonna do the
Mm,
simulation of the lottery to see where we're at. And the question for
mm.
you is going to be, um, who do you think the Raptors should be targeting, regardless of the position? What are and
Listen, if
it's
we listen, man, listen, I'm gonna be very frank.
to the sim.
Listen, guys, I'm not Jamaican, but I grew up in Scarborough. Big up to Scarborough, by the way. And being in Scarborough, we always have Jamaican sayings. Me not want no bum. Sorry, no, I don't want us to draft. Big up to my bestie Jamaican, by the way. But I honestly, guys, if we draft a shooting guard, yo, I'm gonna fling my remote control.
We drafted three shooting
Fling.
guards.
Listen, man, listen. Whatever you have, listen. I don't care. I mean, I don't want no god. Listen, if we draft another 6'6", listen, bro. Listen, man. Listen, listen,
Or
guys. If the
so
player is not,
it's
if the
6'4".
player isn't above 6'9", I don't care. Like literally, I will look back and turn away. I don't want any. No, he's either has to be an elite point guard or a big. That's it. That's it.
So today here we're picking seventh, and we'll look over the mock draft. In my mind, if they don't pick top four, like the only player in my mind is knowledge. I'll watch.
Yeah, I
What are your
mean, yeah, I agree. Like that's to me, that's who I want to target. But Andre, Andre, I'm telling you, Andre, if we pick a guy 6'6" or under, I'm flinging my remote control. There's no reason for us to pick anyone small. No reason.
I have a feeling fears might be on our radar
No
for
reason. No reason. Like there's no freaking reason. If it's not Dylan Harper who's 6'6" as a point guard, that's a
Mhm.
big guard. Ace
Yeah.
Bailey is 6'10". I don't care about VJ. Respectfully, I don't care about him. I don't care.
What? I
Um,
love him,
but
man.
I don't care about him. But what I like about him though is that he's a good defender. But
Yes.
we need a two-way player, and I think he can play two ways, right? He can score. So what makes me enticed about him is that he can play both sides, right? He is someone that is active with his hands. You know what I'm saying? So I do like that about him, right? But he's 6'5". So and coming to the Raptors, if we get VJ, RJ is gone, quickly is gone. Bye. Bye. Because we don't need a VJ, RJ quickly with like no. Get them
Mhm,
both off the team. You know what I'm saying? If we draft VJ, RJ and quickly are gone. That's all I'm trying
mhm.
to say. Like they're redundant, in my opinion.
So then, okay, because this is something that people have not talked about. Because I think everyone's lost a little bit of faith in Ace Bailey. But if we get that third pick, why wouldn't the Raptors even go with an Ace Bailey?
No,
And
I
we
mean, if we get a
understand.
third pick, the Raptors will definitely take Ace Bailey for sure. If he's on the board, they're gonna have to take him. They have no choice.
Yeah, you wouldn't
They
ship
will
him.
take him unless they are really high in Malawak because he can move up. He's
But you would
seven
you
two. He's
I
seven
wouldn't.
two.
But you take him third overall. Like I just don't. I don't
But
know.
but the thing though, right? Like we've seen all the past drafts, right? Like a lot of time people picking what they need, not what is the best. Like getting the best talent makes sense if, like for example, if we didn't have on our squad, listen, Andre, us getting Bi screwed us when it comes to the drafting now, right?
I
So having Bi, we're not keen on an like Ace Bailey. What is someone we needed without a Bi? Having Bi and Ace Bailey in the same team is like what are we doing? You know what I'm saying, Andre? So having a Bi, that's kind of puts us back in a okay. So we have our score now. What do we
yeah.
need? Unless we
Mhm.
say okay, we're gonna get Ace Bailey to play with Bi, right? And Scotty at the four. So they're playing 3 and 2. You
I
know what I
don't know.
mean?
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to say. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like like
Same
getting Bi limits what we're trying to do. That's why I said getting Bi to me wasn't a play unless you just want to get something back for Bruce Brown and those guys. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you don't want to just have that go to waste. But I think Maluak, listen, man, if Duke wins this championship, he can move up because um uh if I'm Philadelphia, I need a big. Clearly I need a big to play because I
Yeah.
can't rely on Embiid to play every game. I need a
Yeah.
big.
I
If I'm
also
the
think
Pelicans, if I'm the
yeah.
Pelicans, I need a big. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah,
I'm
you got
Charlotte, I need a big. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, so all these teams can have bigs. Now, I think for sure, if I'm Charlotte and I get the third pick, yeah, I'm getting Ace Bailey over Maluak because Ace Bailey, I already have Miles Bridge, right? Miles Bridges, Ace
Yeah.
Bailey with
And Miller,
Lamelo. That makes sense, right? So
Brandon Miller plays
looking
the
at what
same.
teams need, yeah, like Ace Billy will go if that's Charlotte's pick. But if Raptors have to pick or Philadelphia, I'm not too confident that Ace Billy will go right away. I think because Philly has Paul George, unless they plan on just getting him. And like it at this point, the question for Philadelphia is who am I getting rid of this summer?
Mm,
And if I'm keeping Embiid, what's the game plan here? Because I feel like Paul George is going to want to go as soon as possible, right?
they can love
So
that.
I'm just curious to see, but I just think in a lot of these draft boards, there's so many point guards, but
Mhm.
the point guards aren't 6 feet. They're 6'6", and they're big guards, right? They're big guards, they're athletic. I just think for me, I don't believe in drafting point guards top five. I
Sure.
think point guards come around all the time. I'm
Mhm.
not. I'm not heavily like a top five draft pick. If it's a point guard, he has to give me that Luca energy, that Kyrie energy. Feel me?
Yeah, I get
James Harden, like those kind of guys. Like I need like elite for a
sure.
point guard to draft him that high. If not, I'm drafting length. So that's why like if I'm Washington, um, am I drafting a Dylan Harper or would I go
Mhm.
after a big like a Maluak?
I
You know what
think
I'm
you're watching
saying?
anyone you can get because they don't have talent. Okay, we're over the hour. I know we do. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I did want to play one small game with you, just for fun. Trying to spice things up with my podcast. Basically, you are going to choose your team of current players, um, with every card that comes up. So I'm going to show you the little card that shows up, and we're going to build our teams together against each other, and we'll see who's the better team. So quickly,
So what's the game we're gonna what? Sorry.
I'll show you this. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna basically these are random teams, and say for instance we're gonna do a deal. It's about Hawks. You're gonna pick your team from the best player from current players that have
From
played
the
for the
Hawks.
Hawks. You just pick whatever team, and then we're gonna see who has the better team.
Oh, so okay, so I pick from okay. So I'm gonna pick
Yeah, we're gonna start now. Well, let's shuffle it up. We'll start now.
okay.
Um,
Oh, sorry.
you go first.
Okay. I'm gonna pick who?
All right, so let's
I'll pick
first
Trey Young,
team.
I guess. Trey Young.
Okay, well you go with Trey Young. Let's go.
Who do you pick?
Oh, for me, I would take current player. I'm gonna take Daniels. I like
You're
him.
gonna pick who? Sorry?
Dyson
Yeah,
Daniels.
between those two. Yeah. I was going back between those two. I'm like, damn it, which team do I between Dyson and Trey, but I'll pick Trey. He's on my fantasy team. Okay.
I love
Um
Dyson. I think he's gonna be
I love Dyson too. I think he's phenomenal. Okay, so you pick Trey. Okay, so
next one.
I'll pick
Denver Nuggets.
okay, so this is current roster, right? So I'll
Or
pick
current players, even if it's from
yeah,
last year. But yeah,
even say it again, the what?
like so if they played for the Nuggets in the last 3 years and they're still in the NBA, you can pick.
So sorry. So I'm picking based on so Nuggets right now. Okay, so I'll pick Jokic.
So you pick Jokic.
Yeah.
You want him to be your center.
Yeah.
Okay, Jokic. And I'm going to pick. I'm gonna have to Murray.
Okay.
All right. Let's see next one. All right, Pacers.
Ooh, I got Pacers. Ooh, Pacers. Okay. So with the Pacers, I'm laughing because this team is so questionable for me. So I already have a point guard. So I'm gonna pick and a center. So I'm gonna pick shoot, you know what? I'm gonna pick Siakam. Why not? I'm gonna be a
All
homer.
right, we got Siakam back there too. Okay,
I'm gonna pick
Siakam.
my Siakam, yeah.
All right, for me, Indiana, I'm going to pick. I think I'm going to pick Matherin because I like him. No. Actually, I'll put my wild card and I'm going to pick. What's his name again? Center. What was his name again? Turner.
Turner, yeah. Turner, yeah.
All right, let's see. Next one. I have to put some sort of game music next time. All right, Charlotte Hornets.
Oh gosh. We just spoke about this team. Oh, out of all the teams, you gotta pick this one. Oh gosh,
It's not a
Charlotte.
wild card. You give a wild card.
Oh gosh. Lord, I'm just like, ugh. Okay. Give me a wild card for this one,
Okay.
and I'll pick Brandon Miller.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, for me, oh no, I don't even know. I don't want to pick. Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. You picked Miller, right? Can LaMelo play the 7-3 small forward? I don't even know.
You got Miles Bridges, and then you got yeah, that's it. Miles Bridges, Grant
or
Williams on a team.
what's the center that was traded? No,
No, he wasn't traded again. He got thing back. What's his
yeah,
name? I forgot his name.
I forgot. He doesn't. Okay, next one. Timberwolves. Okay, we got some players.
Timberwolves.
You got some players here.
Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay, so I already have a point guard. I need a shooting guard, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do Ant-Man. I'll do Anthony Edwards.
And I'm gonna put Gobert.
Go Bear.
All right, and then the last one should be last one. Yeah.
I gotta
Last
pick a small forward. Let's see. Please give me a good small forward. Another team this got.
one.
Warriors. Oh Lord.
You got it. I think your team won, man.
Uh, okay, let's see. I guess I'll just put Butler on that one. Jimmy, yeah.
And you have won because there's no way.
You
In,
never know. Let's simulate. Let's
I
simulate.
can't. I don't know how to simulate it, but it's
Oh,
Draymond.
yeah. No, my team did win for sure.
I,
My
I
team
think
did
good
win for sure.
defensively, a good defensive team,
Yeah.
but this would destroy us,
Your
man.
team is your team is probably very good defensively. I just have a lot of two way. Well, except for Trey Young, but Ant-Man, Butler, Siakam, Jokic, yeah, those guys are all two way players. But
Yeah,
your team is good though. I ain't gonna lie. Dyson Daniels a problem. Gobert, Draymond,
Jokic
Bridges,
beats you, man. Like
yeah,
Jokic really does push forward, man.
yeah. That'd be a problem for y'all. I ain't gonna lie.
But anyways, thank you so much, everyone. This was Nelley J, and this was the Boardman Gets Paid podcast. Really appreciate you guys joining in and watching. Nelly, I really appreciate you being here. You guys can follow her on X, Nelly J _ J, and check
Mhm.
out the good. What's it called again? The good.
Rookies podcast. We dropped the episode. Check it out. Sports and politics. Check it
Anyways,
out. Oh, I see Coach Roach. What up, Coach Roach in the building?
hold
Coach
on. You
Roach.
said something, Coach Roach.
Coach Roach, what's going on?
What's up? Oh yeah, guys, check out their podcast as well. They're
Yes.
so chill. Anyways, thank you guys, and we'll see you later.
Peace. Hey, hey.
My brother, the producer.